This is a place.
This is the place?
This is a place. We want to talk about. This is a place.
Welcome to this week's episode of This Is a Place podcast. My name is Nate, and with me is a guy who is extra excited to be here, Brandon.
Oh, yeah. Super excited. Extra excited, as you said.
We also have a guy who is super hoppy as well, Jimmy Rex.
What's up, man? That's your extra excited. I don't want to see regular excited.
Regular, yeah. Well, it's Easter, so it's
you have to be on theme.
excited.
Easter's a good time. Dude, I always put on extra weight around Easter. It's by far and away the best candy holiday. Easter's just a devil. Between Cadbury cream eggs, what are those things called? The Cadbury mini eggs, and then you also have
caramel
Reese's
ones.
eggs. Oh my gosh. And jelly beans. I love all of them. I'm a mess at Easter time.
Well, then you probably feel the same way that the Reese's eggs and other like designs are way better than the original, right?
Oh yeah, by far. I don't know what that is. I think it's like the proportion of peanut butter to chocolate or something. But I would never eat a normal Reese's, but I can't stop. Every time I see an egg, I buy it.
That's why I'm happy that they're doing more reasons to do it. Like they've got them for footballs now.
Oh yeah, trees.
Any opportunity.
I know. Give
bring
me
it
a
on.
Reese's Ghost for Halloween anytime.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I find that any holiday is a good time to put on some extra pounds.
That's fair.
But Easter works too, just fine. So for BYU football games, I always take the mini eggs, Cadbury mini eggs for good luck. And for one of the whiteout games, I brought the white ones. Not good.
Didn't go well?
No, not good. I tried hard to eat them, but not good at all. So
That's funny.
Well, let's backtrack a little bit here. Jimmy, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, where you grew up, what you've been doing your whole life?
So I grew up in Taylorsville. So I've been in Utah my whole life. I lived in Arizona for a year. I went and got my master's degree from Arizona State, and I went on an LDS mission to Mexico for 2 years. And so other than that, I've basically been in Utah. Travel a lot. One year in 2019, or it was 2019, I think, or 18, I was out of the country 187 days. So I just love to travel. I've been to 85 countries and just make it a point. So I think Utah's like the perfect place to live, but then leaving often. I pretty much go somewhere at least once a week. But anyway, so I love living in Utah. But yeah, I've been doing real estate for the last 17, 18 years. And then I always do like a lot of side projects. One nice thing about real estate is everything else you do can bring you potential clients, potential business. So just always doing other additional things. And so I've done a lot of other side gigs and different things along the way.
Yeah, that's how I know you, is from doing real estate. And I'm a sports addict, so I play every sport you can think of. I'm not good at any of them, but I play them all. I always tell my wife, well, I have to because this person bought a house with me, so playing makes us money.
That's the best part of being a realtor. You can make an excuse for anything.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm like, I need to go on this trip. There's potential buyers or sellers on that plane. And it's not even untrue. I mean, I probably sold more houses from doing my Lake Powell trips. In fact, I know I have, than anything else by far that I ever did. I can trace hundreds of real estate deals back to people I met on a Lake Powell houseboat trip.
And tax write-off, right?
It's huge tax write-off. That's the other best part about being a realtor, right?
Yeah.
It's funny because you can really, especially with me, I'm always just networking and trying to build all these different things. And it all is tax write-offs because it all is business. I dated a girl a couple of years ago. It was a funny compliment. That year was the best year I ever had. I mean, we sold hundreds of homes. And she literally told her friends, she's like, I don't know when he works. I've never actually seen him working. He's always just hanging out with his friends.
So that's a joke that my friends have
She
too.
didn't understand that was my business. She's like, he has hundreds of friends he's always hanging out with, but he never works. I'm like, good. When you can't tell the difference between when I'm working and when I'm playing,
right.
I'm doing a lot of things right.
Yeah, my friends all the time say Nate doesn't have a real job, quote unquote. And,
yeah, this is my job. I basically make content, go hang out with friends, go network, go on trips. Like it really is. It's a really cool way to live, honestly.
You said you just to go back a little bit. You grew up in Taylorsville?
Yeah, so I grew up in Taylorsville when I was 12. We moved to Murray, but I've been in Utah my whole life, and yeah, I'm a Utahn through and through. I really love Utah. I've loved living here. Especially during the pandemic, I got a newfound love for Utah. It's just a lot of places became a really shitty place to be, and Utah wasn't. It was pretty cool here, and there's a lot of amazing people. So yeah, I'm a Utahn.
But you spent most of your adult life in Utah County, is that correct?
About half. I mean, I was in Draper. I had a house in Draper from...
That's Utah County.
Draper?
Right.
No, but I've lived in Draper, Lehigh, which is Utah County, but it's like, and then I've been in Orem, Murray. So yeah, I've been all those areas, but about half and half.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's where we're kind of out there in Taylorsville, West Jordan area. So
Yeah.
I loved growing up there too. I mean, I had a fun childhood. There's always something. We had, my dad was in real estate before the 80s crash and all that. And so he had a ton of land. And so we had a barn with like 10 acres. We had our own baseball field.
Oh,
We
wow.
had right in the heart of Taylorsville, like 6,400 south and 1,300 west. I mean, it was right in the heart of Taylorsville. We had all this land and a barn and sheep and animals. I don't remember the sheep. I was too little, but we had horses. And I remember one day in my youth, I go outside and there's a baby horse. The horse had given birth and just cool stuff like that going on. We'd go find bugs or something. And so I had a really fun childhood, just exploring, having a chance to be a kid. Like an all-American childhood, that was mine.
Is that all now houses and?
Yeah. So when my dad, when I was like 10 or 11, fell on hard times and had to sell it, and they developed a bunch of houses back there instead. So yeah, we lost our little neighborhood, or our little field for a neighborhood. But we still had a batting cage in our backyard, and we still had horses. So we still had a pretty decent. I mean, we had horses and a garden. And I mean, I was a kid. I bet it was on a quarter acre if I were to go look at it today. But it sure as heck felt like 5 acres to
Right,
me.
exactly.
yeah, it's huge.
Yeah.
Good deal. So you do real estate, and you also have a podcast, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken?
so I've got my podcast, The Jimmy Rex Show. I started that about 5 years ago. We're about 400 episodes in now. I also have a men's coaching group. It's the kind of thing I'm most excited about that I do now. It's called We Are the They. And essentially, it's a coaching program where I just take people through the same system that I went through over the last 10 years. I've exposed myself over the last 10 years to every coach, mentor, trainer, books, all these different things. And it's just helped me a lot with my life and helped me, figure out a lot of things, I think. And so I put all the best stuff I'd learned into a program. And originally, it was kind of like, well, who am I to coach other people and tell them how to live their lives? But as I was kind of leaning into it, I started paying attention to the people that were messaging me on Instagram, what they were asking, what they were saying. And the same two things kept coming up. And number one was, I had my book come out, and the subline of my book is The Hidden Dangers of Living a Safe Life. And a lot of people would say, hey, I feel like I'm stuck in life. I feel like I'm not really living up to my potential. I'm not having the life I want. How do you seem like you're doing that? How do I do that? And then the other thing was, how do I find a group of friends like you guys have? You seem to have a really close group of buddies. And I didn't realize how unique it was to have as many amazing people in my life that I do. And so I started saying, you know what? And so when I thought about it, I was like, oh, I know exactly how to build friendships for guys. I know exactly how to help guys bond, get together, do cool stuff. And so I said, it's a men's group. And so I launched this men's coaching group. And, I was nervous I'd get enough people to sign up. I launched it. I left myself 30 days to sell out the program. I had 50 spots because it's not a cheap program. Each guy pays $1,500 a month. So I was hoping enough people to want to be a part of it, but I thought I might have to sell it pretty hard. And the first day I launched, we had 145 people apply.
Oh, wow.
And I knew I was onto something. And so, anyway, long story short, it's been closed ever since. We've been running through it with these guys. We've gone and we've jumped off the rope swing in Moab. We get on a call every week. We go do these really cool in-person mastermind events where we all just bond and do cool stuff. We go hiking and rappelling and, rock climbing and play dodgeball and just do really cool things. But then really there's some really special sides to it where we're able to, take our mask off and be seen for who we are and love each other still in that space. And just things I've learned over the years. And but I've been wanting to open it up and to create a space for more people to be a part of it because, again, I had 145 people originally apply, and I had to choose 50. And I knew I had to keep it smaller at the beginning just to do it right. But I figured out how to expand it, how to do it the right way. And so I'm opening it back up her first week of May, and it's going to be open for about a week or so. And my goal is to get 500 guys to sign up for this. And we changed the pricing to make it more affordable for more people. It's $400 a month now, and then you can, you buy the events separate. But I'm stoked. I've just been able to see the difference it's made for these guys in their lives, and I get these messages from their wives and from them every day, and just how it's changed their lives. And so it's been really fun, man. I'm super passionate about it, and so I've really been steering a lot of my energy towards that. And it's just so fulfilling to do it, to be a part of it, and to help these guys.
That's pretty cool. I had no idea you were doing that too.
Yeah, it's pretty
and
awesome.
You also wrote a book recently, or have you written a couple books?
I've written a couple books. The first one was kind of like I copied Tim Ferriss's idea of Tools for Titans, where I basically interviewed 100 people and put their answers into the book. So it's a real estate book. It's called The Next Wave of Influence in Real Estate. And if you're a new agent, I mean, it's a great place to start. I basically asked these 100 real estate agents, all of which were top millennial real estate agents across the country, and then from there, I put all their information in the book. But it's fine. It's a real estate book. But the second book I'm super proud of. I partnered with my buddy Cameron. He's my best friend since I was 12. And he kind of helped me co-write it, and he knows my voice. And so I would, record all my stories and things, and then he kind of put it to words. But the book is, it's called You End Up Where You're Heading, The Hidden Dangers of Living a Safe Life. And I love it. We've sold thousands and thousands of copies now, and that's it's so rewarding. Again, people send me. I had one just an hour ago. Somebody sent me a message how it changed their life. Somebody recommended it. A family member who I'd sold a house to recommended my book, and this guy was just writing me how it's helped him, and it's pretty cool, man. It's fun. So I got a couple other books I'm working on eventually, but just constantly trying to put out good stuff to help people out.
Well, I definitely recommend the book. I finished it. Probably like the worst time to finish a book like that. I had a baby, so ended up taking path 1 that you talk about at the end of the book.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of good stuff on there. I have to go back and revisit it. But a lot of good ways to really just it's a self-help book in a lot of ways.
It is. It's kind of helps you, just wake you up to like, hey, like people don't regret the stuff they try in their lives. They regret the things they never do,
Right.
And it's very easy to play it safe sometimes. It's comfortable. And so the book's designed to kind of smack you out of that and help you kind of choose that other path that maybe is not as comfortable, but the one where there's all the growth and all the rewards.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I don't read very often. I make Brandon read, and then he tells me about it.
You should read.
We'll talk about it on the way
It's
home.
on Audible too, so you
There
can
we
listen
go.
to me. It was funny, the day I recorded on Audible, I had this investment with Nikola Motors. I was a seed round investor, and the day I was recording my audiobook, the stock spiked. And I made $30 million that day. The stock went up to a point where I was worth over $30 million. And it started the day at like 5. I mean, it went crazy. It's like this whole story. But and anyway, it came way crashing back down. I didn't end up with that much money, but so as I'm reading the book, I'm just in awe. I'm in the best mood of all time, and so it's just funny. Like every time I listen back to it, I think of that day because the kid that was recording it, I'm just like, I'm sorry, I got to take a break. Like this is insane to me. And anyway, it's kind of funny, but yeah, it's on Audible if you want to listen to it, and I'm definitely happy and excited on that. So,
Well, do I get an autographed copy of the book? If
absolutely.
I read it?
Do we have? I think we have some here. I'll
Do I
get
have to
you
read
one.
it first, or
No, I'll get you one. Buddy.
I've got my copy,
is
so
there
I'll take one of those.
next week?
Yeah, what he does is he'll send me the articles or whatever we're talking about and say, okay, read this.
This headline looked good, Brandon. Will you tell me what it says?
That's pretty funny.
So what do you want to be when you grow up, Jimmy?
The keys to never grow up, right? Like that's, I think I want to just stay a kid, man. No, it's funny because you go through these stages of life, and I ran into a buddy from one of the stages of my life that I feel like I've been through like 5 stages of life, and it was a great time. It was 2006 through 2011 probably. And we all lived in this big house, and we threw all these parties. I mean, it was every night. On average, there was 20 people in our home. I had this giant home in Draper with a pool, and God bless those neighbors if they ever hear these podcasts, because they just hated us so bad. And we were throwing giant parties, innocent. It was back when I was still doing the Mormon thing too. So every party was dry, and we had no alcohol. We were just having a good time, But we did throw them every damn night. And but I was like talking to him about that, and I was like, dude, we didn't realize how great of a time that was. I was like, maybe we did. I don't know. Like, it was amazing though. We literally had hundreds of people in our house a week, just meeting new people every single day. But it was just a phase. It was like one phase of my life, and it's kind of fun. I take each one of them. Like, I loved every part of my life. I loved my mission. I loved when I was in college. I loved when I was in high school. And now I love where I'm going now, It's just all these different phases. And here's the thing is, like, if you would have 10 years ago said, Jimmy, what's your perfect life look like? Map it out. I would have screwed it up. I would have never made it as good as it is today because I didn't know how good it could have been. And so I've kind of just said, you know what, God's got this. Like, I'm just going to surrender to whatever comes to me. Obviously, I'm very driven. I have goals and a vision for what I want my life to look like, but I'm very open to the idea that other things can come in or other things can happen. So when you say, what do you want to be when you grow up? I mean, happy is the only thing. I just want to keep being happy and fulfilled, right? Like, it's gotten to the point now where when bad things are happening in the moment, I can laugh about it. I'm just enjoying it in the moment when something bad is happening to me, because I'm like, I have enough hindsight now to see all the parts of my life that I thought were hard or were a struggle or all these things. That's all the beauty of my life now. It's the stories I share. It's when I get asked to speak, it's what I talk about. And so while these things are going on, I just laugh and I'm just like, all right. And it's kind of cool because you don't really have very many bad days when you can find the humor in the situation at the time.
I agree. Just live in the moment, right? Be present.
Be present. Yeah, it's all we got.
What's his name? Is it Andy on The Office? One of the last episodes talks about when you're in the moment, you're wishing you were in the past. Yeah, the good old days, something like that.
I wish you knew when you were in them that you were in the good old days or whatever. But
just.
And I think it's it's like a fine balance of like appreciating that time of the past, but also not living there, right? Like I'm a very much forward moving person. I've lost things that I treasure from my past, or I've had things that happen where I'm like, I have video of it somewhere. I did an entire TV show when I was 22 years old, and there's no copies of it anywhere. And it makes me sad because they would have blown up on YouTube. They were freaking hilarious. It was Blind Date, but a Utah version of it.
You had Mark Madsen, is that his name?
Yeah, I did. I had the Mad Dog on it. You remember?
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, very few people remember that time of my life, but the sad part is I don't have any of those videos. And they'd be a hit on TikTok or YouTube. They'd be great. But you know what? It just is what it is. It's like, okay, if they weren't supposed to be a part of my life now, but there's some beauty to just letting the past be in the past. I always tell people, whether it was good or bad, move on from every experience quickly. You want to learn from your past, but too many people, whether it was good or bad, they want to live there. They want to hang on to that story. And, I love, like, everything is in front of us. Like, no matter where you're at in life, you start today, you can create a new version of yourself. I've reinvented myself 5-6 different times,
It's awesome. Well, another thing you've got going on is you've created this awesome studio that we're sitting in. So tell us a little bit about that. Yeah.
This is my old real estate office, and we needed more space. And so I bought the building, and so I was like, all right, and as I started doing content more and more, you guys can appreciate this. It's just nice to have a place to go and to shoot stuff. So I said, I'm just going to build out this really cool studio for everything I need to film and for my podcast and stuff. And then ultimately I was like, well, shoot, like I've got this studio. I only use it a couple times a week. And so we just built it out and we started renting it out to other people. And so when I start out in my podcast, and maybe you guys can attest to this a little bit, I was trying to do everything the right way, but made all these mistakes. And some of them, the audio is horrendous. I remember I've got a few just amazing guests, and the audio, it's a little tough to listen to. And you don't realize how bad it is till you get great audio. But so I just said, you know what? I wish I had something like this when I started, where I could have just had the guests come in, we sit down. And so it's a done-for-you studio. So I have a podcast producer on site all the time. And you come in and he sets you up. You basically come in, record. He cuts it up, edits it up, posts it for you even, and then you leave. And so it's just super easy to do. So anybody can do a podcast. And I think we have 6, 7, 8 podcasts going right now that we're producing. And it's cool. It's just a really fun, easy way for people to get their show out there.
What's the name of the studio?
Rookery.
How did that come?
So when I was in college, I'm kind of an idiot, but I found the name Rookery, and it's a place where penguins go to mate. I just thought it was a funny name. And I was like, that's hilarious. And so I always wanted to have like a Rookery. I thought it was going to be like a dessert place. I was like, I had this idea in college. It was going to be all you could eat dessert. Because I was like, I know how this goes. People don't eat all you can eat. They go in, they have a couple things, and you're full. You've grossed out. It's not like you keep gorging yourself. But if you charge $10, but it was all you could eat desserts, I thought it was a great idea. But
still a great idea.
Right? Maybe it is. I don't know. It's not the healthiest idea I ever came across. But I was like, no, since I didn't do that. So when I had to figure out a name for the studio, I kind of wanted to have some kind of theme, and I thought Rookery was perfect. And so we have a penguin out there, and it's that's the theme of it. It's easy to remember.
I like the big penguin.
Right?
It's eye-catching.
It looks like the one on Billy Madison. That's where I got the idea.
Oh, yeah.
Did the penguin tell you to do this?
So I was flipping through channels earlier, and that was starting to play. Billy Madison.
There's certain movies, if they're on, I have to watch for at least like 30 minutes. I think Billy Madison is one of those. Then it's like Shawshank Redemption and Billy Madison and like Gladiator, or like The Client, just those old movies are just like, for whatever reason, you see it on, you're like, and this is what we're doing now.
Yeah. Well, we don't have the dessert place yet, but what are some of the places you would recommend to people here in Utah? Like some of your favorite restaurants or just places to go and have fun?
Yeah. So me and my friends, we invested actually in a couple brands that are just starting out that are awesome. Dirty Bird is one. We're going to have 10 restaurants here in Utah by the end of next year. Coconut Island Grill, if you like Hawaiian food. These are just ones that I'm selfishly saying because I'm a part owner of. But and then we have another called Hello Sugar that's going to be coming to Donuts, and they'll be opening the first one in May. And then we're building a couple luxury restaurants as well. One that's called Las Botellas that's going to be, we don't really have high-end experiential eating in Utah. Like if you go to Vegas, Scottsdale, New York, Miami, these other places, you go to STK, you go to Javier's, or, in Vegas, me and some buddies a couple years ago opened a few restaurants. One's called La Neta, and the other one's called Mas Por Favor. And they're both just crush it and do awesome. And so we're bringing the idea of a high-end experiential eating here to Utah that doesn't really exist. A little bit in Park City, but like Roost Chris, it's just kind of stuffy. You got the guy that wears 3 sweaters, and you know what I mean? It's just like, it's not really by people. But you go into like an STK or like our restaurant, and it's the experience of being there. You'll end up being there for 3 hours. Like I went to Los Angeles last weekend, and I went to Soho House for the first time. And I'm just sitting there. It was like, you could sit there all day. And it's just, the experience is the restaurant. And the night before I went to Tao, same thing. I'm trying to like go to these different restaurants to get a feel for things we can bring into ours. And so it's kind of a fun way to experiment. But those are some things I'm excited about. Now, that being said, some of my favorite places in Utah, dude, there's a teriyaki grill. Have you guys ever been to that? They're all over the place. There's one in Draper, right? And Lehigh, Taylorsville. Yeah. Dude, it is the best chicken I've ever had.
Right. I love it.
The problem is you had like Hoagie Yogi back in the day, and they just had cheap chicken. You knew you were eating tendons and shit. You know what I mean? It's just horrible chicken. The thing I love about that place, I go there all the time. It's healthy. They have good salmon, good chicken, good pineapple, and good vegetables. So it's like I eat there probably once or twice a week. I go to Zupa's all the time, some of the regular places, but it's funny with me, I like to mix it up. So I don't have like a favorite restaurant. If you were to say, all right, Jimmy, it's your birthday, you can go to your all-time favorite restaurant, or you can go a new one you've never tried, but we know it's nice and it's highly recommended. I'm picking the new one I haven't tried every time. That's just how I'm wired. Something that was kind of cool last year, though, is we did the $100 dinner club. I don't know if you saw that on our Instagram, and basically every week for over 25 weeks in a row, we went to a new restaurant. In fact, we're doing one tomorrow night again. We're kind of keeping it going, but and everyone that comes brings $100 for the tip. And what was cool about that is we got to go try all these different restaurants that I would never go to otherwise. And so it is fun. I don't really have a go-to place, but there's a lot of I just like to go. One place I go, Prohibition in Murray. That's a really fun one. You go in, like pretend like you can't get in. It's like a speakeasy, and a couple other places like that. But Sunday's Best is always a go-to for brunch on Sundays. My buddy Mike owns that place. It's amazing. But so those are a couple I really like. It's a long answer for that. Sorry.
Oh, that's good. That's what we do. So yeah. I have to ask this too, because it's kind of a theme. It was an early episode that we had in the podcast. Do you remember the Fun Dome? Did you?
Do I remember the Fun Dome? You mean the Galleria? 49th Street Galleria.
I know. I knew it as the Fun Dome.
So that's 49th Street Galleria. I do remember. Bro, that was like my babysitter when I was a kid. My mom would give us $2, and that was somehow supposed to last us all day. But dude, we'd go there. I remember there was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade. I passed the whole thing there. It took me like a month's worth of allowance.
That was more than $2.
No, that was a big allowance. That was like a month's worth of allowances. That was like 4 weeks of allowance stacked up. Plus, I probably had a lemonade stand or something. But no way. I remember we figured out that you could put a quarter in the phone, and if you hurried and hung up quick enough, your call wouldn't hang up, but you'd get your quarter back. So that was how we'd always call my mom to.
Oh, really?
To get home. But the first time I ever went on a Gravitron was at the 49th Street Galleria. The place was money. I don't know if it was as good as in my mind it was, but it had everything. It had bowling and arcade, and
the mini golf was amazing.
Oh, the mini golf was so good. It was like in that dark space, Oh, I think I had my first crush kiss some girl on the cheek in that spot or something. But yeah, I do remember the Fun Dome was good. I bungee jumped there once too.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, they don't allow bungee jumping in the U.S. anymore. It's just too dangerous. I think too much liability. So nobody does it. I mean, think about it.
Maybe because of the insurance.
It's just impossible to basically get it. And so I mean, trust me, I'm always looking for these adventures and things. But you can get private ones done. But yeah, you can't just bungee jump anymore.
They don't have the. I guess I haven't been to Vegas forever. They don't have the tower there anymore.
Nothing.
Huh?
No, not even. And when Vegas is like, we probably shouldn't do it.
Follow suit.
That's probably a good call on that. Well, what happens is people get whiplash and stuff. They sue them, and it's a mess. But I bungee jumped off of a place called Brecken's Bridge in Africa, 750 feet.
Wow,
it was amazing. Yeah. I mean, you like have time to rethink your whole life, like all the bad decisions that led you to this moment. You're still falling. You're like, oh boy,
am I hooked in all right?
Yeah. No, it was pretty wild, but yeah, dude, Fun Dome, good times, good call on that.
Yeah, Fun Dome. I worked at Classic Skating growing up, so my loyalties to them.
Classic Skating's still a pretty good little date activity. I went there about a month and a half ago. Me and my date were both, she's probably late 30s. I'm 40. Everyone else was like 21, 18. Mm-hmm. Didn't matter, dude. We had a blast. A bunch of old fogies just rolling around the roller skating ring. It was fun. I actually felt old for the first time because I knew they were all in college, but to me, they all felt like they were in high school.
Yeah.
I was like, shit, I'm kind of old.
Yeah.
But it was fun.
Yeah.
That's what's been fun about our podcast is we can just we like to go out to these places that, maybe as an adult, it's not your first thing to talk about or go to, but
it's for the podcast. It's an excuse.
Yeah.
We're doing it for the
So you
podcast.
guys, so you go check it out. Yeah. Where's, I guess nowadays you got the place at the point of the mountain there. What's that called?
Boondocks.
Boondocks is pretty good. I like going there. Yeah, it's a fun date activity. Dude, I like hitting baseballs. I fire it up on the fastest one. I can still hit them a little bit.
Really?
You feel it the next day though, because you're using muscles when you swing that you just don't use.
Right.
And but I'll go hit some shots every now and then. Yeah, it's fun.
It's funny you bring up, like, going back, thinking of our early episodes. One of our worst quality episodes was we did a training table episode. Do you remember being there?
I got halfway through listening to it, but I'm like, I turned it off.
Can't go back.
The training table was my brother JD's all-time favorite restaurant. So we went there a lot. I mean, where else do you get to pick up a phone and order your order right from your table? Then you have to go pick it up anyways. It's the most unnecessary process of all time. But their cheese fries.
Yeah, right?
Their cheese fries will change your life. No, dude, training table, if I was going to bring back one restaurant that ever went away, well, I don't know. It's between Tony Roma's.
Yeah.
I think there's a few in California still. A couple of years ago, I was out in California at Disneyland with this girl, and I remember we went to Tony Roma's. You want to hear the story? It's kind of awful, actually.
Yeah, we want to hear it.
I thought she was pregnant. She was I was dating her. She'd skipped her period or something, and so I'm sitting at Tony Roma's, and I'm just a mess. It's like my favorite restaurant from being a kid, and they got the best bread with this garlic butter and the ribs. Oh my gosh, I love Tony Roma's. And all I can think is, I can't believe I think I knocked this girl up. And we go to Walgreens, like a couple of places down, and she came out of the bathroom. She's like, I'm not pregnant. And I probably shouldn't have celebrated like I did, but I was relieved, and that was my moment where I realized I better be a little more careful with myself. But I was going through it. I was figuring things out, But that was my last time I went to Tony Roma's.
It's not the same.
Roma's and Training Table. I mean, those are two high-quality restaurants that should have stuck around.
Yeah.
Whoever was running those must be a real idiot because the food was amazing.
I knew the Tony Roma's guy. Well, I did. I don't remember who it was, but hung out with him a few times.
Yeah. You got JCW's now that replaced Training Table.
Is it any good?
JCW's?
Is it similar?
So, from what I've heard,
it's been a while since I ate an entire plate of cheese fries, too.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think that the people that started JCW's got a lot of their recipes and things from Training Table. So
do you guys remember that guy that tried to set up the fake In-N-Out that came in for like an hour and a half?
What was that called?
Dude, what was it called? It tastes just like it.
Yeah.
I mean, looked the same, tastes the same. Only difference was it took them an hour to make your burger. It was insane. Chuddies or
something like that. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Chuddies. I don't know.
Chuddies?
It's not even necessary to say. I think it's Chuddies. Dude,
I remember that.
Yeah.
When In-N-Out wouldn't come
he
here.
got sued. He lost too. He literally copied the entire menu. It looked like In-N-Out, but it was called like Chatters. That was it.
Let's go with that.
Yeah. If you're a listener and you guys, please send me a DM on Instagram. It's going to bother me for a week.
If only there was like a search engine or something you could.
Right? If only I had some kind of way. You know what? I'm not Googling that because I don't want to. No, it was funny though. That guy, it was the ball's on him, dude.
I totally forgot about that.
Chatters. I know.
Chatters.
We have a whole new episode to do now.
You should do it on Chatters.
Yes.
Yeah, the whole story. From
the lawsuits, everything.
Yes, if you could get that guy on, you're welcome for that.
There's got to be a Wikipedia on that, right?
Dude, I'm going to try to get him on the Jimmy Rex show. I'm gonna race you on that one. So, I'd love to tell his whole disastrous story.
What's on then?
What is it?
Chatters.
It's Chatters. Yeah, thanks. My podcast director. Just
there you go.
Yeah, see, he's my own little. What is it? The guy on Joe Rogan? What's his name?
Jamie.
That's my Jamie over there. Appreciate it, Dakota.
Well, going back to your podcast, how do you decide what guests you're going to have on, or how do you come up with your material?
Yeah, so when I started the podcast, I did it to make an impact, right? Like I wanted people, I just had access to so many amazing people, and I said, how can I expose people that I know to these same people? I was in conversations every day where I'm like, how lucky am I to be able to have this conversation with this person? And so started out with a lot of people that just inspired me and stuff like that. But so now it's anything I can do to create interest that's interesting, honestly, that I think is going to make for a good podcast episode. So I've had a lot on with just some of my buddies, and we tell our stories and different things. I have a lot of influencers. They just usually have cool things to talk about. I've had a lot of politicians on. I had Evan McMullen recently, who's running for Senate against Mike Lee. I had I've had almost every congressman representing the state of Utah. I've had Burgess Owens, and I've had, Mia Love when she was. I've had Mitt Romney, John Huntsman. I've had all these different people on, and so it's been kind of fun to be able to share those messages. I have a big enough audience that they're willing to come on my show, and so that's kind of cool.
We messaged Mitt Romney. He didn't get back to us.
He didn't get back to you yet? I wouldn't feel bad. He wouldn't get back to me now either. He's changed. But I've had a bunch of athletes on. Like the other day I did, Cleveland Browns starting linebacker, Sione Takitaki. And it's just cool just to hear their stories, hear their experience of what it's like to be an NFL athlete. And so I'm just trying to get interesting guests. Every now and then I'll get a really special one. I had one recently, Erwin McManus. He's my favorite author of all time, and one of them at least, one of 2 or 3 favorite authors. And I got to fly to LA and spend a day with him, and we did the podcast, and it was really cool. That was a guy, when I met him, I was just like, wow, just blown away. And to be able to have that now, to be able to share that podcast, and had a couple of guys like that. I had Grant Cardone and Andy Frisell, some of these guys I really look up to and have kind of helped inspire me along the way. So it's been fun.
Is there like a dream person you want to have on your podcast?
I've got a top list. Yeah, I've got a list. I have a vision board where I've got I would say my number one actually would probably be Joe Rogan. I just think that he's so important for what he's doing for the world. Tony Robbins is right there, and I'm close to getting Tony. I've got enough connections there. Eventually, I think it'll happen. I put a couple of my people from my youth that I was always wanted. Like Jennifer Love Hewitt was my crush for a decade. That'd be a fun one. Like Hulk Hogan, who's now partners in Cards and Coffee, a company that I'm part owner in. So I'm guessing I can make that happen eventually. And then a couple other people like that, Vince Vaughn, some favorite actors, Adam Sandler would be one that I'd love to just jam with, some of those guys. But yeah, what's cool is I had a list when I first started. I had 25 people on it that was like my dream list. And I've had 4 of them on now. So I've had several of them on. Yeah. Who would be a funny one here in Utah? And you guys can appreciate this because you have a Utah podcast. Who would be the number one most popular person in the state of Utah by far that you could have on your podcast?
Post Malone.
More popular than that.
Huh?
Jimmy Rex.
No.
No? Shoot.
Number one.
Think about it.
John
number
Stockton.
One. And when I say it, you guys look great. No, bigger than Stockton.
Number one?
The biggest guest you can get in Utah.
The Prophet.
Yes, the Prophet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Right? Like, how cool would that be? So I actually, one of his grandsons is a friend of mine, and he knows I'm good friends with the jazz players. And so I was on a Zoom with Rudy yesterday with 8 of us, and he goes, hey man, what are the odds? He owns a dental clinic, and he goes, what's the odds for our grand opening? You could get some jazz guys here. I said, they owe me some favors. I used to throw some pool parties for him and stuff. Like I've waited to call in these favors. I said, if you can get me a podcast with your grandpa, then I'll get you every jazz player. I promise. It's done. They'll be there. And he goes, let me see. And so he asked him, and he said he couldn't. He said he didn't have time right now. But he at least asked him. I mean, I got that far. And then I ran into Uchtdorf. I'm not even Mormon anymore, but it's just cool for the state of Utah. Yeah. I ran into we used to be one of the 3 main dudes in the whole church. And he's one of the 12 apostles, I guess. But I ran into him in the Delta Lounge, and I just walked right up. And I was like 3 glasses of wine in, too. It was pretty funny. But went right up to him. We had an amazing conversation for about an hour in the Delta Lounge. It was just he and I, and then his wife came about halfway through. And I asked him to be on my podcast, and he said he would, but I don't think those guys have much leeway as far as what they're able to do. He's like, yeah, you got to go through this person. And I was like, dude, Come on, you're like an apostle.
Let me
you
put my
make
phone
your own decisions.
I'll put my phone.
All right, let's
Right now.
just hash it
do it
out
right now.
for 20 minutes right now.
Right.
Tell me your origin story. No, and but he said he would, and it was funny when he was saying bye. He's like, "Well, stay in touch," because we had a good talk. I tried to intrigue him, and I think I did. And I was coming from doing an Andy Frisella podcast that weekend, so I just had Andy, who's got millions more followers than this guy anyway, and so it wasn't like I don't get starstruck. I was in my element. I was. But I was trying to intrigue him, and he goes, well, so let's stay in touch. And I was like, well, how do I do that? And he gives me the address of the church headquarters. And I'm like, I kind of like shrug my shoulders, and I go, so I just stopped by. I asked for you. And he started laughing. He's like, no, he goes, here, let me give you my email. So he gave me his personal email, but I've reached out a few times, but hasn't happened. But that's kind of like top of my list. It'd be really cool to get like the prophet or like somebody like Uchtdorf, who's kind of a cool dude,
Yeah. So I served my
Can talk
mission.
about planes.
Sorry, I served my mission in Uruguay. And when I was leaving, one of the members like, "Oh, can you go talk to who was it? President Hinckley at the time?" And like, yeah, you just walk downtown and you just go straight to their office, and they'll have a meeting like your bishop would, right? Like, I wish it was that easy.
Maybe in the 40s.
Yeah. So it doesn't work that way. I'm sorry. I know I live where he lives, but
yeah, I think eventually, I'm pretty confident eventually this will get to the place where I can get people like, I don't know. I mean, I've already had some of the biggest guests in the world. I've had a lot of the top influencers in the world. And so there's one more level of some of those top guys, your Michael Jordans and your LeBron James and your, Brad Pitts of the world. But that next tier right there, I mean, I'm in that world interviewing those guys, talking to those guys all the time. The guy I just interviewed, Erwin McManus, I mean, he's huge. He's a, national celebrity. Hundreds of thousands of people watch him as a pastor every Sunday at church. So.
Well, I'd say I put you on the list early on in the podcast, so this is checked off a box for us.
Well, I love that, man.
So we appreciate you coming on. Kind of look at you as the Joe Rogan of Utah, if that's appropriate.
Well, that's cool. When I started, and that's a good way to sum up my podcast. I want to be the Joe Rogan of Utah, kind of. It's like just have different people on, right? Mm-hmm. Like sometimes they're super interesting. Sometimes we just laugh our asses off. Sometimes it's super informative, and other times you're like, they've lost their damn minds. But overall, it's just a fun conversation with friends. So yeah, thank you for having me, man.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
So definitely check out the Jimmy Rex Show, all the podcast places, right?
Check out your book. Check out your
what I tell people, just follow me on Instagram. That's Mr. Jimmy Rex, because I share everything through my stories. Like anytime I have something cool going on, I'll share it, and so that's kind of the best way to stay informed. Instead of sending you to 10 different places, I share all the different stuff through my Instagram. So
cool,
great.
Yeah.
Well, one last story.
You bet.
During the Trump election, tell us what you did on I-15.
The first one with him and Hillary, it was funny. I saw this sign. Some realtor in South Carolina had made a sign that said, "Moving to Canada, I'll sell your house," and it had a picture of Trump and Hillary. And it was just kind of like this ghetto sign he put together. And I was like, okay, that's funny. And so I had it cartoonized, because then you can't get in trouble for using them. And I put it on the billboard on I-15, and just big sign that just had Trump and Hillary. And then it said, "Moving to Canada, I'll sell your house," and then it had my picture and my phone number. It was pretty funny. It was, people. It's funny how people remember you, because I have so many different parts of me and things I've done over my lifetime. But I get that one quite a bit. People are like, "Oh, you're the guy from I-15 with the Trump and Hillary sign." So, yeah, it was kind of fun.
Yeah, that was a good one. So, anything else you want to add, Jimmy?
No, man. It's fun that you guys are doing this. I appreciate you having me on. And yeah, anything I can do for you, let me know. I've always really appreciated you. We started in real estate at the exact same time, the same office. At least when I started, you were there. And you were always just that guy that was just willing to help or do anything to help other people. And so you've always been that person. And I've always looked at you that way. So
awesome. Thanks, Jimmy.
Appreciate you.
And thanks for hosting us here in the studio. Nate was saying earlier, we get people asking us how to start a podcast. It's a great way to do it.
Really is. It saves you a lot of time, money, and effort. I mean, our cameras alone are worth, it'd take you 30 episodes to pay off your own camera one time to use a camera like that. So, yeah, anyone that's looking to start a podcast, would love to help you.
And where is it located? We know
it's in Orem. Yeah. It's in Orem. Just go rookerystudios.com or Rookery Studio on Instagram.
And it's a good location.
All the information.
Right off of I-15, so it's
quick. It's quick. It's 1600 north. So you're not going all the way into Provo. I can get to Draper from here in 20 minutes.
Thanks for listening to This Is a Place podcast.
See you next week.
Thanks, guys.